Nope, not one bit, not one bit. Because do you know what this hangout's title is? You
Because
guessed
the
it.
prophets are dead.
Yes, exactly. The prophets are all dead. Google Hangout. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to be talking about, since none of us think that God is real, we're just going to talk about the prophets and how their work has been metaphorically killed off by the idea of progress, rational thought, empiricism. All of these things that fundamentalists seem to really hate. Now, being the fact that you guys are all informative on the news and like the current issues and stuff, you're aware of this disease known as Ebola, right?
Certainly.
Yes.
And you're aware of like the just the mortality rate of it, just like once you get it, you go through that horrible process which ends in a very untimely sad death, right?
Go on.
Well, apparently for people who are at least the least bit scientifically literate, we understand how these things can come about, to a degree. Preachers have a different perspectives, at least some, but I'm seeing a pattern, and I'm gonna play for you a clip on what a pastor thinks is the result of Ebola spreading in various places, and particularly just recently emerged in the U.S. Let me just play this clip for you
I
guys right
love
now.
this one.
I'd hate to think that a bull and a pasture in a cow have more sense than the PhD in the university. I'd hate to think that two skunks in the backyard and a judge is supposed to have studied the laws of the land and able to interpret the law. Isn't it amazing? For 150 plus years, we've had the laws and many of the same laws on the book, and all of a sudden we're supposed to have had a vision overnight, and how dumb we were all of those years, and now the things that even put laws in place and said homosexuality is breaking the law is now putting so-called laws in place saying that it's okay, that it's a lifestyle that's accepted in our society. Listen, we're not getting wiser, we're getting dumber. We're not getting smarter, my friend. We are meriting, we are bringing the judgment of God on this nation as sure as Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. Don't be surprised at the plague. Don't be surprised at the judgment of God. You think Ebola is bad now? Just wait. If it's not that, it's going to be something else. My friend, I want you to understand. You came on your nose at God, and God turned his head away without God getting your attention.
Okay, now that was preacher. I forgot his name specifically, but he says that apparently the reason Ebola has emerged is because it's God's wrath coming down upon us for recognizing that gay people should have apparently equal rights. Now, for all of us that are scientifically literate, we understand germ theory. We understand like if you don't wash your hands or if you don't make sure that these things don't like spread the way they do, like on that germ level, these things are going to spread out and it's going to be bad. However, he's saying that because of something that's totally unrelated to this issue, that it must be God's wrath against us. Now, personally, I think this is ludicrous. I think it's a bad way to talk theology if you wanted to have a positive impact on the world. And I think it's more of a matter of recognizing that the fact that this is a serious disease, that helping people and ensuring that they get the help they need to combat this, and like through funding and the medical research. But rather than just use this to speak dogma. But what do you guys think, honestly?
Well, my first reaction is always that when I hear these sorts of things, and if it wasn't Ebola, it was SARS or something, it's just like he says, it's always going to be something else. They're so enthusiastic about it. They're enthusiastic about it. They really do seem to want a harsh judgment of God. So that's kind of sick to start with. That's just my initial reaction.
Yeah, I think the plague is like a sign of the apocalypse or something. Eschatology is a much bigger factor than many people give it credit for. And
Well, it exists in
beyond
all
that,
of
of course,
us.
yeah, classism and racism play out quite nastily too. Go ahead.
I think that eschatology, the subconscious or childish wish that all the world be destroyed. I mean, I think you see that constantly in other places too. You know, our zombie movies are about that. You know, these Planet of the Apes and all these destruction, or the meteor hits, all these destruction fantasies. I think that it's obviously something else is deeper is going on there, but it can get expressed by, knuckleheads like Wolf just played in that way. And so this enthusiasm, this delight in the death of the world, I think it ain't just, I'm sorry to say.
Well,
Very, very, very nice. What you guys say, Nani?
and they particularly delight in the death of us. I
Right.
think death to atheism is, well, I had the idea of making inflammatory response titles. You know, I guess directly alluding to all that, but really there is a kill the infidel sort of affair there, where death to the atheists is, lurking just beneath the surface. Go ahead.
Right, right, right. Sir, your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I missed the very last half, or maybe the last little bit, but I did have something to say about what I did hear. He was talking about bringing down the judgment of God, and I've always believed that. I mean, obviously there isn't a God. There's no factual basis for it. But if anyone's bringing down the judgment, it would be them. I mean, they're implementing these rules on society, which I mean, it would be a punishment for so many people.
Let me give you a base. Let me give you a basis. Okay, the guy said that the preacher said that Ebola, the horrible disease, is killing people. It's a punishment for accepting gay rights. So what do you think about it?
Uh, I think exactly the same as they did when they said Katrina was because of the homosexuals, or when they said global warming was because of the homosexuals, or when they said earthquakes were because of the homosexuals. They think homosexuals cause everything, like they have magical powers.
Yeah,
Also,
right. It's basically just bigotry, wrapped up in like, oh, it's a supernatural. You gotta repent and follow our worldview. I mean, that's not how I actually wanted to ask John that question because he's a moderate theist and I respect him for that. But yeah, this is just nonsense. We understand how this stuff can spread like naturally. I mean, that's really why we can make vaccines and stuff for this. If we apply the right empirical research and stuff like that through science. But yo, Blue, you had something to say. You finished your last thought, and then now I might play something else.
oh, go play something else. Good.
Okay. Now, as you know, now that was one incident that I played that. I'm gonna play now a different clip for you guys. I'm gonna bring it up, and then I want you to like get your perspective on this. This is gonna be hold on. Let me just give me a second.
The audio was kind of poor on the last one. If there's any way to improve that, I'd be grateful.
Oh, the first clip was essentially a pastor preaching that Ebola was essentially
I
caused
heard it.
by homosexuals.
I heard it.
Uh,
I heard it. It was just real kind
yeah,
of with the
we had
audio.
Mycroft Holmes advocating nuking Liberia too.
Yeah. Also that and that. Well, I'm gonna get into that. Hold on a second. This is gonna be okay. Now you guys are aware of who John Hagee is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is him talking about it and correlating it with the Middle East. Okay. Here you go. And it's coming up right now.
Judas says in the third chapter,
Okay, so that was John Hagee giving his once again using God as a reason for why we have Ebola, not just Ebola, but economic instability. And once again, this is just demonstrable of preachers who want to use God as their supernatural explanation for why things in the world is messed up, and apparently we have to change our worldview in order for this stuff to change. And it's really, yeah, honestly, this is nonsense. Once again, we understand how this stuff happens, and we understand like why we have economic instability, because you have a population of not just a population, well, yes,
That's
of course
less
you have a
easily
population.
understood.
Yeah, we have a we basically understand why there's economic instability when you have a society in which a significant amount of the economic power is going to a particular demographic. It's not going to balance out very well. It's only when you have it to where you have you have much more fairness. You have much more a potential to have an equal society where people pay their fair share. You will have a better, much more fair, much more humane society. And also, like I said, we need to put more money and more medical research in order to combat this disease, so we don't have to try to treat people like lepers, like in West Africa, trying to argue for this travel ban, or or anything that makes it seem like we're the superpower. We'll step in when someone's threatening our interest, or trying to incite a war or anything, but we're just gonna screw someone else up because it's inconvenient to us. No, that's not how it works. But what are your thoughts, guys?
Well, the economy is relatively well understood to essentially be the result of you know uh, the insufficiency of aggregate demand, wage arbitrage, and technological unemployment, as well as essentially um, wealth inequality, income inequality being the underlying factor beneath the insufficiency of aggregate demand. So when the smoke clears, it's really a matter of policy and the whole left versus right Cold War affair that leads to the policies that give all that, or create all that, and so on. Um,
Well,
so you don't have to even be Marxist to see where the quote unquote
right.
price of
That's right.
capitalism with a small c is actually coming from. Go ahead.
I don't disagree with anything that either of y'all said. I would only add to it by saying that the underlying causes of why social progress and economic progress and fairness is hard and is difficult. I think that goes back to, other issues, just like our physical nature, the fact that we're only partly rational, and have, I don't know, someday maybe our ancestors will have big ass, another lobe and another cortex to be able to think about things differently. But I recognize that the fifth ape is real limited, and it's going to take a long, long time before there's actual equality and justice. I mean, that's the other thing about these plague knuckleheads. It's so anti-history. If you were in Europe during the Black Plague in the late 1340s, now then you could say, wow, I think Jesus is going to come. You know, if you lived through the Great War, World War II, you could say, wow, this is it. I guess this is it. I guess the world's going to end. Or even Krakatoa exploding before they knew about plate tectonics. All of these would seem like, oh, well, hey, God is serious now. Ebola, and I mean, as bad as it is and as serious it is, and all these things these knuckleheads talk about are serious, but they really don't compare to what people live through. I mean, if half the people in America die within the next year, like it happened in Europe during the plague, Well, I hope that doesn't happen. But then I'd believe then I'd listen to an asshole who's screaming that the world's about to end a little more than I would now.
Yeah, but because we have because we have the technological advances we've made in the last in the recent few centuries that we've lived, now we understand that there are real explanations to account for these things, and there are real solutions that we can actually use to to better alleviate these issues. But like dogma like that doesn't help the situation at all. And with that, Cerberus, you got anything to add to this, man?
Yeah, I mean, this might seem to be coming a little out of left field, but if you're going to bar any sort of major social change, uh, I'm going to have to blame it on the artists. Artists have dropped the ball. Science becomes mainstream when it's involved in art, and that's the pattern that history goes through. Something's discovered, and then someone draws it and makes it look pretty, and then everyone knows about it.
And this is how. But how
I, I,
does
I was
how have
asking
artists
you.
dropped the ball because of this? It seems like they're
I was asking you the relevance to your view on this preacher saying that Ebola and economic inactivity is a result of like what we're doing in the Middle East.
Oh, I was responding to what Blue was talking about. I mean, that's just goes back to kind of what I said for the first clip. Something bad happens. The religious blames it on someone, saying they made God do it, and there you go. It's the same formula, just with different actors.
I agree.
Yeah, my thoughts on that is essentially just going back to the whole issue with the Middle East thing. What we're focusing on is we have different types of people like living in this region. And, both of them claim to have this land. I remember this wonderful song that illustrates the futility of this. This land is mine. God gave this land to me. The guy who sings it is brilliant. And like it basically just depicts people like from different eras and times and stuff and tribes going around killing each other because they all believe the same thing. But if they decided, hey, let's get together, let's not have a dick measuring contest with our religions and say, you know what, we're both human beings, we have different cultures, but we could get together and share this friggin' land. It's not that hard. And they're seeing it as like, oh, this is terrible. God's gonna come down and he's gonna say no to this. And it's like that's bullshit. That's just negativity. That's not. You're just adding more kindle to the fire with that, because they're that's what they're fighting about over there right now. If they work to actually split the land, probably something to a deal they had in the 1930s or 40s. There might not be a problem. They'll have their resources, and there won't be a problem. But to say that, oh, God's coming down here with his wrath, you're not helping your religion, because you're just
Do you
making
understand why they
your God
can't?
sound. You're making they're making their God sound as petty and ridiculous as they're being right now when they speak this crap.
Do you understand why there can't be a split of the land and you just have two separate nations in Palestine and Israel? Do you understand why that can't happen? It's because, well, forgive me. It's because the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the mosque that Muhammad supposedly rode to on a winged horse, and the temple, the old temple, the temple of the Jews, occupy exactly the same land. I mean, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is still there, and 50 meters away is what's left of the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, what's left of the temple. So the problem, I wish, until that is solved, that is why that issue right there makes Palestine and Israel absolutely intractable because of religion.
Well, I mean, Christianity and the Muslim religions they're constructed in such a way for social domination. I mean, they're not like Taoism or Buddhism, where it's a philosophy just to live by. It's go forth and make new Christian and Muslim land.
Yeah, but I mean, you see, I mean that well, that's the deal with the whole Middle East and and the east of the East Asian nations in that I mean this is the contrast that we see because they're chilling in their beliefs. They're all like do this way, avoid suffering, be chill, one with the universe, all that stuff, and that's positive and cool. I mean with the Christian and Muslims at the fundamentalist level, and to a lesser extent the Jews on the fundamentalist level, it's that it's this is the word, you got follow it, you did, and if you don't, we're either gonna like pass laws. We're gonna kill you, or we're gonna pass laws that makes it dominate every aspect of your life, and that's just not how it works. And in light of the rational enlightenment principles that help construct this world in a progressive sort of way, and also with this whole like Middle East thing, honestly, the only way we're actually gonna see peace and equality amongst the Israeli people and the Palestinians is if they focus on that a way to share that land. Otherwise, the friggin' angel of death is going to be is going to be smiling over them for as long as they're out there. And honestly, either they focus on that, or we should honestly get out the way and just let them kill each other like the morons that preceded them thousands of years ago.
Hold on. Don't go too far. Lots of
I'm just saying. I know it's an ultimatum, and I know it's hard, but like
lots
still.
of innocent knuckleheads get killed when that happens. I mean, forgive me, Wolf. This is just a small quibble, and I know what you're saying when the title of your hangout is "The Prophets Are Dead." You mean these nasty knucklehead prophets you've just played, not to mention the the Old Testament prophets in the Bible. They're all dead, and what these guys are saying is dead in the water.
Yeah. That's
But just
both
in general,
literally and symbolic. Both literally and
right.
symbolic. Yes.
But just in general, I would have to say that prophets in general aren't dead. I know what you're talking about. I know what you mean, but I mean, there are environmental prophets of doom. There are, forgive me, but sports prophets who I've seen come right, turn out right. Just to quibble, I'm just saying, but I think you can prophesize and it not be tied down with religious meaning. It's just a prediction about what's going to fucking happen later.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. It's funny. Oh, what you're saying, Nadia?
Science in many respects, or many of its fields, is a very predictive endeavor. Essentially, need not limit it to science or petroleum geology or evolution of bacteria to resist antibiotics. You can also extend it to physics and chemistry and everything else more generally.
So you're kind of hinting at the kind of a scientific prophecy, and that it's predictive, therefore it's useful, kind of thing.
Right.
Right.
I understand
Cool.
it's splitting hairs, or it isn't, because there is a real difference between prediction and what a prophecy generally is regarded to mean. But
Yeah, no. I mean, I
use
get what
that
you're
word
saying. I get what you're
constantly at
saying.
work. It's just like, oh well, Joe was a good prophet about what was going to happen tonight. I mean.
Well, it's on the basis for how we predict things. By the way, what's up, fiction? And Just speaking of science, that's actually a good thing you mentioned because I wanted to bring this up on my channel in a personal video, but I didn't have the time to get around to it, in a visual video. So I think I'm gonna bring it up right now. Are you guys aware of who Banana Man is?
Oh,
Ray Comfort?
Ray Comfort.
Jinx and ding 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 ding. You guys are right. All right. So the infamous Creation Tard has commented on Stephen King's credentials with regard to his worldview, and we're just gonna play that clip right
Stephen
now.
Hawking, not Stephen King. But go on.
Wait. Did I say Stephen King?
Yes.
Shit, I must be loaded. I mean Stephen Hawking. My bad.
He better not say anything bad about Stephen King neither.
Yeah. That's actually funny because that mistake was actually made in the clip. But let me just play it out. Okay. And there you go.
Before we understand science, it is natural to believe that God created the universe. And now science offers a more convincing explanation. What I meant by he would know the mind of God is he would know everything that God would know if there were a God, which there isn't. Mind and atheist. Stephen Hawking. Yes, I was thinking of the guy who wrote novel, right? Oh yeah, the horror. It's like I know it's anyway, so Stephen Hawking is believed to be one of the greatest minds alive today, and people buy into it. How dare you say that? The Bible says he's a fool. If we disagree with the Bible, when someone says I'm an atheist, they're saying I'm a fool. They're saying nothing created everything, which is ludicrous. Intellectual suicide. The Bible says if he denies God, he's a fool. We say that God is intelligent, then we're denying what Scripture says. Yeah. It's like someone who sits on a
Is there any way to turn that up?
when nothing exploded, everything comes like all the things, the numbers, windows.
Yes, I'm also having trouble hearing it now.
Yeah, Wolf, is there any way to turn that up? Can barely hear it.
Okay. Wait. Hold up. The clip stopped. All
I
right.
think
So
we're all aware, or I don't know. The brief summary is that Banana Man Ray Comfort called physicist Stephen Hawking a fool somewhere. I don't know if he said it live, but I saw that.
yeah. He actually did say it live on his show, in which he stated that Stephen Hawking, the theoretical physicist, is a fool because originally he said he said in one of his books that we would know the mind of God. Now he followed originally the theme of pantheism, right? Which was the belief that the cosmos was divine and kind of like a god because it's infinite. There's nothing else like it, and technically by that definition, he didn't believe in a personal God anyway. But now that he thinks that science has a better explanation, he sort of like shedded the pantheistic thing and like actually came out as a full blown atheist. And and in Ray Comfort's mind, he's a fool because he's not Christian. And, in his mind, he can't understand how something like the universe or like or like animals or like species could come into existence like spontaneously or anything like that, or it can't become orderly and stuff like that. And it's ridiculous because he gives the comparison like a 747 can't just magically come together out of an explosion. I mean that's not what anyone's saying. I mean, these are naturally occurring things that come about spontaneously through simple chaos. Given laws of physics, time, variation, and stuff.
Yeah, but
Like
Wolf, okay, stop for a sec. You do realize people like Ray Comfort and the reason why they will call us all fools, including scientists and people that have actual facts and knowledge, is because there's a scripture built right in their little book that says they will everyone is a fool.
Said in his
not
heart
declare
there is
God,
no God.
right?
hold on one at a time.
In his heart there is no God. Is the I forget where it is. It's in Proverbs.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's built right in their scriptures, and so there's no, I mean, anything that has any logic or any facts to it, they will look at that as a fool, because it says, the scripture, a fool will say in their heart there is no God, right? So anything that comes against that we're automatically fools anyway by default, as far as they're concerned.
Right.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
And as
they
far
can.
as oh,
I was going to say, I
Psalm,
mean,
Psalm
I
14:1.
don't actually believe that Ray Comfort or a few other prominent theists, when they say things like, there's an explosion and an airplane comes together, that they know that that's not what the theory is. It's been explained to them over and over again. They probably went to college at some point or was in high school and knows what the theory actually says. But they say things like that so people like, Nephilim free, or pillbox, or G-man, they can repeat it
What
and then
truth in
laugh.
face?
yeah, so they can be brainwashed by it.
Yeah, I mean that's
That's the
they're
whole
they're
purpose in it.
they're purposely making their followers dumber
Right,
to
I
exactly.
win an
don't
That was my
argument.
next
know.
line. My next line was to dumb them down, so they look like even more fools when people like
But,
Hawkins
but
and
but it's not to make them look. It's not to make them look like fools. It's to win an argument. They're doing it for their own argument.
yeah, their
So
own
basically,
argument. Doesn't
yeah,
win the
I'm
yeah,
not
argument
convinced.
though.
I'm not
Not
yeah,
convinced
by a
that
long
they
shot.
are that
yeah,
they actually do believe it or know about it fully enough to say, oh, that they're really deceiving people. I think they're willfully ignorant of basic science, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know. This is a long debate. Are they actually willfully ignorant, or they're not just guys like Ray Comfort
Well,
and the like? They're not just trying to give Nephilim Free something to say. They're trying to make money. So
Yeah.
that's another issue of it too.
oh
But
yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
argue
yeah,
that
yeah.
some of these knuckleheads really, they're not. They just haven't learned basic science and refuse to, and are willfully ignorant of it.
no,
And
Yeah.
that's
it's
why they're
impossible.
innocent.
It's impossible for these people to be willfully ignorant. This
Oh,
information
you,
is literally
oh,
it's literally forced on them, whether
I
they
watched
want
Yeah,
to
and
or not.
Jason.
I think
Hey
But they
man, I
choose to
watch Jason
ignore it
Burns.
and dismiss it. They choose
yeah,
to
I
yeah,
watch
dismiss.
Jason Burns every week, many dozens of videos. It's absolutely possible to be willfully ignorant, to
yeah, and
compartmentalize that way.
Yeah, but
Shut
let's
the
Jason
analyze.
hell
Burns
up.
is not Ray Comfort.
Hold on, though. Yeah, let's focus on Ray Comfort for a second. So he wants to call like this theoretical physicist a fool, but he can't be consistent with his own claims. Okay, so as you guys know, he is a serious creationist, although he refuses to be honest with what he thinks the age of the Earth is. This is a
You know,
claim that a
you know
lot of
what'll
younger
happen?
creationists want to bring up. Hold on, Fiction. I just want to bring up a point, and I'll let you speak. I actually saw when Ray Comfort called into the Atheist Experience the first time, and it was hilarious. He made the same bullshit points they made now, just tossed it off. And the second time, him and Matt actually got in on this radio show to debate. He was spouting off his bullshit. He was talking about how and I love mentioning this. He made his movie Evolution versus God, where he asked a bunch of scientists, like he always does. Well, rarely does. Sometimes on the level does it. And he said, "Oh, they gave me evidence for speciation and adaptation, something we all believe in," quote, but not one piece of evidence for evolution. And Matt just came around and said, Ray, that is evidence for evolution. That's what these scientists have been trying to beat into your head, but it just doesn't stick. I mean, there's nothing stopping variations from producing large, complex change, but apparently you don't comprehend this. You accept it. You accepted it with Thunderfoot. So you're kind of the fool here because you don't understand basic science on any level.
Well, that's the thing. Like, evolution doesn't even precisely state that there's going to be giant changes. I mean, things stay the same for a long period of time all the time. It just says there's going to be change. That's all. As soon as you accept that there is a change, then you accept what evolution says.
I don't know if they
Exactly right.
really believe it or not. Go on,
Yeah.
Fiction.
In many respects.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
sorry, go ahead.
what I was gonna say is the minute they start accepting the facts, their whole foundation at which they stand on will crumble, and all their followers will have to follow with them. As soon as they accept science and the facts, they're done. There's no more debate. Woo!
I
In many res-
certainly
They're
agree
fighting
on
to hang on.
There is no debate on evolution. There just
I know,
is none.
but they want
If
to. But
there's
they're
God
very
or not,
ignorant. They're very
still
ignorant of it.
Yeah, but
Keeps it
fiction,
going.
I would say you have very little faith in faith. It won't. I don't think it's gonna go away. It's just gonna change.
Sorry, little faith in faith. I don't have any faith at all.
Well, I mean, if we want to have that argument, I can show you where you do. But
No, I have no faith.
Well,
I'm not jumping into that,
Just
but-
like I don't have a soul, just like I
Okay.
don't have a soul or a belief.
We all have
Okay,
beliefs
okay.
and things that we
what's a
don't.
good
We
way to
all.
word faith? Please.
Whoa, you
Like,
guys,
right.
all
Yeah,
at once.
for-
Like,
Okay,
no,
okay, hold on, guys.
Whoa.
Trying to get to a
I
point.
don't want to go G-Man. I do not want to go G-Man, but seriously, one at a time, guys. Come on.
Yeah, that was just a turn of phrase. We don't even need to get into that right now. I was going to say that they'll just incorporate just enough and change their belief to keep it going. That's what's always happened. That's what
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
everyone does.
Exactly.
I agree.
And they're in deep denial of the facts. That's their biggest problem right there. They want to go by their imaginations rather than just the facts. And wishful thinking. It's sad.
Okay.
Pathetic. Sorry. Go ahead, Nanette.
If I can purge my backlog here, I'll go in reverse. Well, I'll go forward. The Psalm 14:1 actually has a more insidious message. After the fool says in his heart there is no God, it says, they are corrupt, they do abominable deeds, there is none who does good.
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Well,
See, it
so
feels
they
right in your
have
book.
quite a bit of inscription of evil to do. And furthermore, in terms of evolution, they also don't accept the nature of the changes that actually occur. They don't accept that, body plans derive essentially from lobe-finned fish. Internal organ structure goes all the way back to segmented worms. The diaphragm architecture goes back to the differentiation from archosaurs, and so on and so forth. But last but not least, the claim of having enough faith is clearly contradictable by epistemic regress, at which point you essentially determine those properly basic beliefs that, at least in a foundationalist epistemology, that give rise to or provide the foundation for everything else. Go ahead. Sorry for the gish out.
No, it's actually well appreciated to me. But the final point here before I continue this discussion further is when you're talking about like a model predictive power or something like science that helps us understand things from the subatomic to the rest of the cosmos, that is it's not just great because we're figuring out how these things work. There's a sense of poetic magic and understanding like the universe and our connection to it. Not just because like the beauty of how it of the atoms that go into it, but the way they're put together, and we're understanding like not just that, but our place within it. So, any other thoughts on that? And with that, I will continue. Let's see the discussion. All right, so there's a study I want to bring up. Okay, it's secular societies fare better than religious societies. So you could say in a way that I wouldn't say this is necessarily a direct response to G-Man because I feel like he himself is too small a mind to actually respond to. But I think this is the general response to all of the nonsensical fundamentalist thought that's been going around in this country right now, not just limited to G+. Now, apparently they think that if societies were more secular, that we were more inclined to be on the rise for moral or economic or societal ruin or whatever. So let me just read this right now. more recently, Newt Gingrich has argued that any country that attempts to drive God out of public life will surely face all kinds of social problems. A secular country would be, frankly, a nightmare indeed. In the aftermath of the wanton massacre of school children in Newtown, Connecticut, yeah, he basically said that secularism is going to be the inevitable end to our society. Now, uh, this is an interesting hypothesis, but wrong. Consider, for instance, the latest special report just out by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, which lists 10 states with the worst/best quality of life. According to this, the multivariate analysis, which takes into account a plethora of indicators of societal well-being, those states in America with the worst quality of life tend to be the most God-loving/most religious, such as Mississippi and Alabama, while these states with the best quality of life tend to be among the least God-loving/least religious, such as Vermont and New Hampshire. If you are curious to which states are the most/least religious, simply check out the Pew Forum Religious Landscape Survey. It's all there. And then you can go ahead and check out how the various states are faring in terms of their societal well-being. The correlation is clear and strong. The more secular tend to fare better than the religious on a vast host of measures, including homicide, violent crime rates, poverty rates, obesity and diabetes rates, child abuse rates, educational attainment levels, income levels, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, you can imagine like the most secular democratic nations today, which are Scandinavia, Japan, Australia, and the Netherlands. They're faring better in nearly every single indicator of well-being imaginable than the most religious countries, which is Jamaica, Colombia, El Salvador, Yemen, Malawi, Pakistan, the Philippines. I mean, the data is consistent that secular societies just tend to do better because they're.
Whoops.
The Google monster ate him.
Yeah, you know what, you guys? I think that there's a lot of factors to consider that just get glossed over.
Procedural point. Bear in mind that while the moderator is out of the room, an error screen appears in the YouTube live stream, so that nothing you say will be heard by the audience.
Oh, so we can cuss and show nudity and stuff now?
I wouldn't advise it because predicting when he'll return is not so easy. But that said,
So is this a new thing? So when the moderator leaves, then nothing is live now?
I don't think that the only component to consider in that is whether or not there's a religious government. I mean, you can't simplify. It's an oversimplification.
Well, yeah, I mean, when a lot of people say secular society, they only mean the government isn't supportive of a religion. But I mean, you can talk, you can say it more broadly and have it be, from top to bottom.
Sorry, I was just laughing what Beta Barry was saying in chat here.
Oh no, what I mean is that to equate the success of a country or the quality of life of its people simply to whether or not the government identifies a religion and favors that religion is oversimplified.
Well, I agree.
There we go.
But if you want the audience to hear it, I'll have to say it while the moderator is in.
I don't care if the audience hears. I'm not here for the audience. I'm here to have a conversation. So I don't care if it's the audience or not, personally.
As true as your own personal concern with it might be, many of us would kind of like the discussion recorded. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, I mean, now that everyone can see, we're sorry it didn't get recorded. We solved world hunger and made peace in the Middle East.
Damn it. I hate it when it happens. So sorry about that. So anyway, my point is the data shows that in places that are the most secular, less worried about like God or religion, they tend to do better as opposed to places that are the most. That's what it is. But what do you guys think?
Wolf King, I have a question for you. What are the standards that they go by? What are the criteria that they use, and how is it representative solely of religion? It just seems like there's so many more things to consider than the religion in the quality of life of the people in the country.
They go by rates, rates related to like what goes on, like in terms of population, like with educational attainment,
But that's
like
not also,
child
that doesn't
mobility.
have to be religious either. Sorry.
You know, they're just going by like the certain rates and like the things that that are contingent on society and like how successful they are when like implementing these things, and it just shows that
What
secular societies just tend
No, it
to.
doesn't show that, Wolf King. I'm sorry. That's what they say it shows, but there's so many more things to consider.
Actually, I would be careful. The studies themselves are very careful to avoid inferring causation from correlation.
In this instance, I agree with you 100%. It just doesn't seem like there's so much to consider, and to just, I mean, there's so many reasons that the quality of life for the people could be measured as less satisfying than for people in another country. One of the reasons could be religion, but I don't think that's I don't see that as a guiding principle for quality of life solely.
Okay, hold on a second. Now look, the initial argument from the fundamentalists is that if you have secularism as kind of, sort of like a principle in a particular society or country or whatever,
Okay.
that tends to be worse. However, in light of the data, in light of what the study says, based on like the understanding of these particular rates
I
and
see
like
what you're saying.
how they're implemented, the most successful tend to be ones who focus on religion less and focuses on what
Okay.
they actually do with regard to people applying their reasoning skills independent of implementing religious values. That's what I was stating.
Okay, I get that. I get that
actually
now.
works.
So, Wolfgang, let me just ask you this real quick. So, what you're saying is that because the fundamentalists are sort of declaring that religion has a positive impact, you can correlate that there is a negative association with countries who identify as religious.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that the religion is the factor. It's just that with the presence of religion, it's not seen as a positive influence necessarily.
Right. You could extrapolate it. You could extrapolate it like.
Okay, I get that then. That makes sense then, actually. Thanks for explaining.
Of course. Any other thoughts, guys?
Yeah, as a side note, I'd like to point out many of these secularist countries that have a more lean and efficient society and implement policies better, they tend to be more socialistic than the religious ones.
Oh yeah. Making sure everyone's taken care of. Yeah, making sure helping out the poor. The sick and the downtrodden. Yeah. That's total. That's socialism. That's communism. I don't recall anyone important ever saying that helping other people out was one important thing. Certainly not some guy from the Middle East. Huh?
You're taking my punchline. I was going to say they're more Christ-like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yo, Nadia, you have your hand up. What's up, girl?
Yeah. I would also point out there's something of a rather grim vision of the world that these people seem to have in terms of some element of fatalism, also eschatologically deferring any kind of action against all these ills, like of course, outright illness, but also economic deprivation, to the quote-unquote kingdom of Christ, and so on and so forth. And the misery and so on, they see happening now. they see as a sort of harbinger of Christ's eventual return and so on. So it gets ugly in various ways, and they try to encourage it to bring about the apocalypse.
Yeah, can I say something too as well? Isn't it? I could be wrong, but isn't the non-religious sectors, aren't they more about helping people become proactive in their own lives rather than depending on social entities helping to help out the needy and the poor and all that? Isn't it? Aren't we all about helping people be stronger and be more proactive in their life? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like what you're talking about. I mean, that's humanism. That's giving. That's focusing on the principle that these humans have the right and responsibility to give meaning and shape to their own lives. Focusing on
right.
using your reason and free inquiry and skills to progress better and giving the people the basis for which they can enhance their
They can
lives
help
on a
themselves.
collective level. Yeah. That's
Exactly.
that's
And churches are all about getting people, oh, come, Jesus will help you. Jesus, just pray and trust in God and all that, instead of showing them how to be more independent in their life from all these deities and all that stuff.
yeah,
And of
exactly.
course,
Like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm mentioning. Cerberus, you gave your thoughts on this, right?
Oh yeah, with the Jesus thing, I did.
Yeah, and just to give my 2 cents on here. Yeah, I mean, like take Ebola, like for example, like where is it spreading? It sure as hell is not in Sweden with its secular glory and
Or
or
here
in
in Canada, we haven't got one case here.
or in Estonia, but which is also a secular country. But I hate to say it, it's spreading in the most religious African nations where where the church attendance is high and prayers up, and these are believers. They're not. This isn't just. This isn't arbitrary. I mean, the missionaries have been out for years there, like telling those Africans to believe that Jesus is Lord, but God is like not. It's being silent. It's missing in action. So I mean, I got to say that the prophets, their words, they're dead in their graves. It's sad. I gotta I gotta dance on. We gotta dance on their graves. We gotta have that party like in their cemetery. But like, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's we've built our world, our secular world on the graves of these ancient people with their nonsense. But and their traditions, they live on in the minds of those who ignore the true beauty of an infinite and self-regulated universe, apparently. And that's a real pity.
and the tyranny of it too.
Right.
Yeah, they'll reap what you sow, going all the way to well, where not fascistic plutocratic systems and such get to pretty much the same kind of pickle as we got today with 85 people owning half the world, 12, and of course, a sixth of the world starving and so on.
Yeah, why isn't Bennett Barry getting on the mic here? He's saying some good stuff here. Dogma stagnates progress. I totally agree with what he said there.
Yeah. Ben, can you like say stuff or like your mic's broken or like what, man? Okay, I'm just gonna read what you just said here. Education, a way to help yourself. Yep. Hope for the hopeless. That's where religion is attractive for poor countries traditionally. Hope. Dogma stagnates progress. How about TV work? Yeah, some other stuff. Yeah, but good points all along still.
Yeah, he's at work. That's why he can't speak.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna hit on a final point.
Can I just before you do something there, well, can I say something else too? Maybe Nadia knows the scripture for this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But it goes from their word as well. The meek shall inherit the earth. Like scriptures like that. It's ingrained in their system, their belief system. The poorer they are, the sicker they are, the more trust they have to have in God and all this. I mean, they're trained to believe that their faith is gonna, make them great in another world or in the next life or whatever they believe in, right?
Matthew 5:5.
Yeah, I mean, is it any wonder? Like, it totally goes against anything that's progressive. Again, I'll just state that again. Sorry, like I'm done now. Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah. Okay. So like, my point basically here is this like it would appear that in this big infinite universe, filled with awesome complex things, I feel like to understand this with like a personal God, it's too small in thought and too small in in like just like imagination. I feel like we need to use better methods to actually come to grips with what we can do to make our world better for not just us but our descendants that come afterwards. And it's only with it's whether it's in politics or science or philosophy or just in or in economics or whatever. I feel like it's only when we follow the physical evidence and we use our reason and our logic to actually come to these conclusions can we actually make it better. And we're not going to use it with the words of ancient goat herders who might have came up with some with some philosophical and poetic concepts, or more or less like had it carried on tradition. But now we have the knowledge to basically to come to better conclusions and explanations and solutions to better like make our society better for everyone. So that's what I think. So yeah, the prophets they're all dead. G-Man and every G-Man, True Empiricism, Arcane, all these fundy dipshits. Yeah, they're carrying on the words of dead assholes who half of them didn't even exist to begin with.
Have you guys touched on at all the where they say that the prophecies have come true? Have you touched on any of the criticisms of those assumptions?
Not really, because I mean, it was. I know it says the title says the prophets are all dead, but usually for me, it's sort of like it's both literal and metaphorical in that they're like the beliefs have sort of like have been killed with rationalism, empiricism, things like that.
Before we move on, I want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I would say before we move on to another subject or a progression here, I want to point out you were talking about secularism. We've been talking about secularism and religious folk, and what progresses society more. And I just want to make everyone aware that I've said this a few times to a few people, but there's an unintended experiment going on in America. Texas and California are both in their 3-year are both in a 3-year plus drought, and if it continues, we'll get to see the outcome of Jesus versus science. California is building 2 desalination plants so far, and they're trying to pass legislation and get funding to reopen the water pipeline from like Washington and Oregon. And Texas is praying. They're holding prayer services in football stadiums. So
Right, but you know what?
we're going to get to see who delivers.
But you're not going to find. You're going to identify that, but a Christian person will deny it. So I'm not sure that you're going to really be able to convince them that what they're seeing is what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, that's just for everyone else that wants to watch it unfold.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's actually a good time we can get into it for a minute. Yeah, I remember when the governor, I'm not sure if he's still the governor because he was actually arrested. I believe for being bribed or something like that. But yeah, like that whole pray for rain thing it's total nonsense. I mean, that's just like ancient Aztec bullshit. We understand how
He was indicted. He wasn't arrested. He was indicted.
Okay,
Grand jury.
Okay, thanks for that clarification, Chick.
I can give you an example.
Yeah, just hold on, Fiction. I'll let you speak in a second. Yeah, we all know how rain comes about, through a process of, condensation and precipitation in the water drops heavy enough to fall under gravity. It's not like you could pray and then the laws of physics are just gonna kiss your ass. That's just group magic. That's silly. So yeah, that's not how it works. That's there's a reason why we base laws on the best empirical scientific evidence that we have, as opposed to private prejudice or what it says in dogma or all this other nonsense. But because it works, obviously. But fiction, what do you guys say?
On a smaller scale, I can give you an example of what'll happen. What Super said is me and my sister. She lives in the Bible Belt of Louisiana, and she told me about how she had a near-death experience, and oh man, we had a huge argument. And I said, how can you give God credit for the doctor that actually saved your life? And she says, well, God sent him to me just in the nick of time. Like, so that's what'll happen is when something happens that corrects the situation, like a drought. What they'll do, these people that are praying in the stadiums and everything, they'll give credit to God for allowing these people to supply them with water again. That's exactly what'll happen.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Actually, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's sad, but
It's
that's
not about,
what they do.
it's not logical or rational, but it's it's par for the course. It's
Hmm.
it's it's very predictable, and I don't necessarily. Uh, and it's clear why they do that.
Because why?
I said it's
What was,
clear
what was
why
that
they do
last
that.
line that you said?
It's clear why they do that. It's because they have to be consistent with themselves. Once they compromise anything and give it credit to something else, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I can't be reasonable because that means that
No, they
my
feel they're being
They have to
reasonable.
say there is no God. They can't bring
They feel
themselves to do it.
they feel
no,
that
no,
that is reasonable.
I wouldn't even mind that. Look, they can have their religious belief. I really don't care about that. It's not like I'm anti-theist. I'm a reasonable secularist. Like, as long as you can have your beliefs, but don't try to get that in government or in school or anything like that, because religion has its place in society, and so does all those other things. Like, I don't want a crazy ridiculous crap like it's just like how I gave the study. There's a reason why these things tend to work the best, because they're focusing on what we could best apply our reason and skills to with regard to the real world, as opposed to like dealing with supernatural bullshit. But that's. But until these fundies get this through their heads and at least become reasonable on some level with their beliefs, it's never gonna get to them. But honestly, the prophets really are all dead. And I will prefer to dance on their graves. Anyone else care to say anything before I might take it off here in a second.
Matthew 27:54.
It's a little off topic, but I just want to point out that the Bible just says you can't lay with men like you do women, so as long as you're not bisexual, you're okay.
Oh, that means
No, really? I'm sorry. Well, no. I gotta say this. I mean, dude, their Lord and Savior was bisexual. What, you think that's like anything new? Well, who knows? Fucking T.J. Kirk might be the Messiah. I mean, there's no
does that
friggin' law
mean
that says you can't stick a friggin' banana up your butt.
That would be great.
does that mean
That ain't in the Bible.
does that mean as long as I don't get SRS, I can still have sex?
What?
Does that mean as long as I don't get SRS, I can still have sex?
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw on online that just really quickly. I don't mean to totally uh, change the topic, but I think it's very important to state this. Jenny McCarthy explained that lemon juice cures Ebola, and I think that that's great news. She literally said it on a TV show.
Oh, no, but check. Didn't you hear? Like lately, the preachers have been talking about how Ebola is God's punishment for why everything is so screwed up, man.
Oh,
It's not great in his life. It's not great in his eyes. Therefore,
it's not lemon juice, it's prayer.
huh?
It's not lemon juice, it's prayer. Maybe lemon juice with prayer.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's lemon pledge. If you clean the wood on your.
Oh, Jake, you're
No.
too funny.
Kill all them sinners. That's all I got to say about it. You don't believe the way I believe, man, you could go to hell. That's all I got to say. It ain't in the book. Ain't in the good book, and if it ain't in the good book, you can go fuck off, man. You can go die. That's what
No.
Jesus would think. That nope. Jesus was very clear. Jesus was very clear. It's in the word. And if you don't like it, boy, you could go on, go to hell. That right, burn forever. That's my God, and if you don't like my God, you could go kick my God's ass.
I love that attitude because most Christians will disagree with other Christians. So if they have that attitude, they're all going to hell.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm the one true Christian. Ain't no other Christian better Christian than I am, man. You gotta think the way I think, and you gotta agree with me and kiss my ass all the time. In terms of I don't want no equality. Damn your equality. My worldview is the truth. He died for you. That means you gotta agree with me, otherwise you're gonna go to hell. Don't you be laughing, lady. Don't you be laughing, lady.
I got some truth for you, dude.
I will judge your worldview, and I will
We're
deem you a
already in
sinner.
hell, and there's heaven here too. So get used to it.
Yeah, that's funny. Also, you got to, and Nadia, don't you think I'm not done with you, girl? I know what you're doing. You're living in sin with that long, pretty black hair, and you're wearing your dresses and stuff like that. I know you gotta repent. You gotta come. You ain't no, you gotta accept that you is not a lady. You is a God-fearing man, and you gotta accept that your lifestyle is wrong, and like you can't be having relations with all these men because that's sinful.
How
But
about
Well,
this for the scientists? Will you just please get us off this fucking planet? Give us one of our own.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this: the science and the scientists, they're being controlled by the big old
It's
Satan
not
right
that many
now.
men. I only take on maybe like 10, 15 one night.
10, 15 what?
One night.
10 or 15 what?
Yeah, one night equals like an eternity in in space angel time.
You have 10 or 15 mates tonight?
Well, basically, yeah.
No wonder you're up all the time.
I'm not a superstar, so yeah, I only get so many at the club, but still.
Yeah, it's been fun. All right, I'm gonna take this off here. All right, this has been Wolf King, the Professor All Dead. Like, enjoy your nights. Sape aude, dare to know. Good night, everybody.
That was
Peace.
fun.
Easy